All right, so we got a little bit of a different setup in the studio today. I finally have a whiteboard. Why, you might ask? Well, I have been told, I like to think that I am deadly with a whiteboard. I just love getting my ideas and thoughts and concepts out on the board and drawing things out. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time today sharing an idea or concept that I've talked about on the show a good bit over the years. But I think I'm going to be able to more clearly articulate my thoughts with this wonderful tool, because having the right tool is extremely important. In order to do that, I have some markers down here. I'm going to pick these two to start off with. Maybe get a few others. The concept that I want to get into today is going to be about setting the direction of your organization. Whenever it comes to having a culture, how you define the culture and ensure that everyone in the team, everyone in your business is moving in the right direction. The analogy that I like to use is a bowling lane, and you've got bumpers on each side. So as you bowl, roll the ball down the lane, it hits the bumpers and it stays in the lane where it needs to stay. So if we were to draw this out, let's pretend this is our cultural lane. We want our employees to be all moving in the same direction. And if your culture is based on kindness and candor and integrity, whatever drives your culture in the direction that you want to take it, this is your lane. And what happens as you start adding people to the team, as you start bringing more bodies into your organization, they're going to come around, they're going to bump against the lane here. And you will find that certain people, they might just kind of hang out up here on the top. Others might come down here. Others may just be all over the place. And then you'll have others that just kind of stray, and sometimes they get a little bit out of line, and you got to bring them back in line. Now, maybe they start to raise their voice, maybe they start to use some foul language that just doesn't align with what you want at your company. Easy enough. You just kind of bump them back in, keep them in line, and then hopefully they stay in line, understand this is what we're trying to accomplish. Inevitably, at some point, you're going to have a high performer that does this. We all know this guy. Such a pain. And it takes a tremendous amount of energy to course correct. Maybe they just fly off the deep end, start yelling at employees, start threatening employees. And it takes a lot of energy to bring them back in line. Maybe even someone else on the team has to come out and bring them back in line. Now, if they decide to say, oh, okay, now I'm going to go up here, all of a sudden you start to have a very real issue unraveling. You have to make sure that if somebody consistently gets out of line, if they're doing things that don't align with your culture and your values, you have to course correct. You have to bring them back in line. Easy enough. Now, let's think through what this might look like if you are a leader that is completely detached. Maybe you are the visionary and you've got this grand idea and plan. You're driving your business. Maybe you're focused just on the product and letting the people kind of do their own thing. What happens, you'll have somebody, they start doing this number here. Then you have people coming down here, and then they start spawning off other thoughts and ideas. And you can kind of see, and then we've got this guy here. He comes up, and he's just a loony bin going all over the place. So while this might look really cool and fun and exciting on the whiteboard, when your organization starts to unravel in this way, it can feel like chaos. It can feel like pandemonium. And at some point, your talented people that are really moving the needle and driving the company, the performance, the sales, the product, they're going to get fed up because they don't feel like they're part of anything meaningful. So you have to make sure that as these people start to just flail out of control, that as a leader, you know how to have that uncomfortable conversation to bring them back in line. That is not an easy task to do. A lot of visionaries, they're bubbly and extroverted and outgoing, but when it comes to having a difficult conversation, they're not always equipped for it. If you struggle with these types of things, there's a book that I always recommend, Crucial Conversations. Highly, highly recommend that book. Another book that comes to mind, Extreme Ownership. If you're a manager or leader in a team or leader of a company and this sprawl is occurring, you got to step up. And you might not know exactly how, but you have to start taking action and doing something. This is the first time I have used the whiteboard on the podcast, so I'm a little bit giddy, a little bit wired. It's actually really late at night right now, but this idea hit me and I wanted to run through it with all of you. Hopefully this is beneficial and helpful. If so, leave a comment down below. If you want to have a conversation with me and chop it up, just shoot me a message, leave a comment, and I'll get with you. Y'all have a good one.